During JAMB exam, it is not just enough that you had read and prepared for the exam. There are other vital things you need to know while in the exam hall, and you may not be told this by anyone, not even by the invigilator. You just have to know them yourself. And in today's video, I'll share with you 5 important things you need to know while in the exam hall. So stay tuned on to the end of this video as it promises to be helpful. My name is Nnamdi. I'm a first-class graduate of chemical engineering from the University of Uyo. And here on this channel, my aim is to help you achieve academic excellence. But without wasting much time, let's get right into the business of the day. First things first, you have to make sure you know your exam venue the day before your exam, and you try as much as possible to arrive early on the day of the exam. Late arrival to the exam hall is one of the reasons why prepared students fumble in the exam hall, because it affects them psychologically. A lot of things happen when you arrive early to the exam hall, and it contributes greatly to your performance in the exam. First, it reduces these feelings of anxiety and nervousness and gives you that time to mentally prepare for the exam and then approach it with a calmer mindset. It also boosts your confidence levels and gives you this sense of readiness for the exam. And also, by arriving early to the exam hall, you can reduce the stress of rushing to the exam hall and then increases your chances of being focused in the exam. As you arrive early to the exam hall, please make sure you check the mouse, the keyboard, and the touchpad if you'll be offered a laptop computer, just to be sure that they are functioning properly. Arriving late to the exam hall was one big mistake I made in my first JAMB exam. I discovered the venue for the exam on the day of the exam, and I walked into the exam hall while other students had begun. And trust me, this feeling of seeing your mates writing exam and then you're coming into the exam hall can be very, very terrible. So please try as much as possible to arrive early on the day of the exam. The next thing you have to do is to try as much as possible to be focused on the day of the exam. Anything can happen before your exam day or even on the day of your exam. It could be something good that could make you feel really happy. It could even be something bad that could make you feel sad. Whichever way, just try as much as possible to let go of anything, any thoughts at all, and then focus on the exam. After the exam, you have the whole time to yourself to attend to anything you need to attend to. Also, there's always this temptation of trying to answer multiple questions at a time, especially when they seem simple. Please try to avoid this and focus on one question at a time. Otherwise, you may not end up choosing the correct options out of excitement. Tip number 3 is to stay calm and be relaxed. There's always this tendency of being nervous, especially if it is your first time of sitting for JAMB exam. When you're anxious and stressed, it can affect your ability to recall and make proper decisions. One way of combating this is to try and make conscious efforts to stay calm and relaxed, even if it is your first time of sitting for JAMB exam. Just try and be relaxed. And one other way to combat this is to try as much as possible to arrive early on the day of the exam, as discussed previously. Come into the exam hall and then sit down before the exam commences. It will go a long way to help you stay calm and relaxed. Also, try to be organized. Get your pen, pencil, and whatever it is you'll be needing in the exam hall ready. And don't come with the mindset of trying to borrow from anybody. It wouldn't help you at all. Tip number 4 is go through the questions properly before choosing your options. Sometimes we fail a question not because we don't know the correct answer, but because we are so excited when we see this question and just feel like it looks simple. And so because of that, we don't just have this proper look into the question. And then we just go ahead to just pick any question we just think about. And we may end up failing the question. So I advise that in the exam hall, before you choose any questions, look into the questions properly and make proper analysis before you choose the answer. As much as you're trying to be fast, please try also to look closely into the questions before you choose the right options. Now let's look at an example together. Choose the option opposite in meaning to the word or words in phrase underlined. Arnold would soon get to the zenith of his career, and the options are option A, peak, option B, low, option C, nadir, option D, base, and option E, foot. Now, first things first, zenith is a word that is used to describe the peak of something. Now, this means that automatically option A, which is peak, is out of the options because it has the same meaning as zenith. So we are left with the 4 options from B to E. But then low, base, and foot can be used to describe the bottom of something. That's the base, the ground level of something, which we can easily pick any of them to stand in for the opposite of zenith. Now, many of us may go to pick option D because base is the ground level of something, and which can stand in for the opposite of zenith. In this context, base would not stand in to be the correct option. The correct option that answers these questions the most is nadir, C, because it talks about the bottom level of something, the ground, the bottom level. So in this context now, nadir stands to be the opposite of zenith. So if you don't look at this question properly and make proper analysis before choosing your option, you may fail it. You may go to choose low, base, or fruit, and which does not stand in appropriately for the answer of this question. The fifth tip is to be time conscious. Don't be carried away and always feel like you have so much time on your side. Always work with the mindset that you have limited amount of time to go. One way to try to manage your time effectively in the exam hall is to try and divide the time into 4. And then you allocate a certain amount of time for this subject, for this subject, for this subject, and try to finish the exam for that subject within that limited amount of time. Also, try to answer easy questions first, and you can skip challenging questions and then make plans to come back for them later before your time elapses. And make sure you answer the skipped questions before you move on to another subject so you don't forget in the end. Now also, don't leave any questions blank or vacant completely. Try to pick something, whether it is wrong or right. That is if you don't know the correct answer to the question. You can just pick anything. You may just be lucky it can turn out to be the correct option. Just pick anything because there is no negative marking in JAMB. So these 5 tips will help you in the exam hall and increase your chances of doing really well at the end of the exam. So with this, we've come to the end of today's video, and if you found value in this content, please like this content and also subscribe to the channel so this content can get to the reach of other people like you who are looking forward to doing really well in JAMB this year. I wish you well, good luck. Until next time, take care.